on EDC Unlocked. Jeremy Siers, the best beard on YouTube.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment.
In one of our funniest episodes yet.
I think in one of them I had on a wife beater. You're going to be in front of people. Put on a t-shirt, man. What the hell's wrong with you? So, that's my whole look, bro. It's homeless chic. That's my vibe. Oh, don't say it, Jeremy. I couldn't. You heard me. It was like Tourette's. I had to say it. I couldn't not.
Hey guys, we came up with the idea for EDC Unlocked because we felt there wasn't anything out there that gave the EDC community the opportunity to hear the stories behind big names and brands in the space, whilst also giving them the chance and the opportunity to ask the questions that they've always wanted to ask. For now, this is a limited mini-series, but if you guys want more, then we would love to come back with another series. And so if you do genuinely like the show, please smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and please just shoot us a comment with your thoughts on the episode, who you'd want to see on the podcast, on the next episode, and anything else. This 20 seconds of your time really makes such a huge difference, and we really appreciate it. Okay, let's get back into the episode. Welcome to EDC Unlocked by Holme and Hadfield, and today I am really excited to have on the show easily one of the most requested names and easily the best beard on YouTube, Jeremy Siers. How's it going, man?
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on, man. I appreciate it. And the kind word, the beard's getting a little grayer these days, so it's not probably the best looking one anymore, but I thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
I mean, I could probably use the whole episode to ask you questions about your beard, but I'm conscious of time. So we've actually got, if people see me looking in front of me at my laptop, it's because we've got quite a lot of questions from our community, which some are hilarious. So we'll get into that. But what I'd really like to do before that is someone looks at your YouTube channel, they see over 500,000 subscribers, they see all this curated content, they see the finished article, right? And they think, oh, wow, it must be he must have got there overnight. I know that can't be the case. And I actually went back to your first ever video and things have changed.
Oh, no, you haven't.
I haven't.
I took those down. They were so embarrassing, bro. Some of my first videos, I watch them now because I can still see them. They're just not public anymore.
Oh, come on, share one with us.
It is the most cringe, horrible, I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? It was so bad. Cool. It's real bad. So no, you don't even see those. And even the ones out there, some of the first ones are pretty bad, but the real bad ones aren't even visible anymore.
Could you just tell us what kind of thing it might have been, one of those ones that you've taken off?
Well, it wasn't the context of the video that was a problem. It was, and I don't even remember what some of them are about now. They were about various things. I think some of them were even about pipes and stuff, because I used to not only smoke cigars, but I smoked pipes. So some of them were about that, and some of them were about some other things, just like vloggy type videos. But I think the cringe part was just that I was super uncomfortable on camera, which I don't think a lot of people. I don't know how long you've been in front of camera, but you seem perfectly comfortable right now. But some people that have never been in front of a camera, they're just awkward. You know what I mean? And especially if you're not interacting with somebody else and you're just talking to a camera by yourself, and the first time you've ever done that, you're sitting in a room alone, staring down the barrel of a lens. It's just, I don't know, man. It's super awkward. Yeah. So yeah, they were very uncomfortable, man. And I think in one of them I had on a wife beater because I was just at my house, and I'm like, what am I doing going on? There's nothing wrong with wearing a wife beater. I still wear them to this day around the house as I'm bumming around because I live in Florida and it's hot. But if you're going to be in front of people, put on a t-shirt, man. What the hell's wrong with you? So it was just very cringe, bro. Very cringe.
But so before that time, and someone asked this actually, what did you do before then? What was life like before then? And how did you even? I mean, I even think about it now. I look at people on YouTube and I'm like, that takes head. I mean, particularly these days with what I've heard about the algorithm and stuff like that. It takes so much commitment, consistency, etc., etc. So, could you let us know what were you doing before YouTube? What was life like then? And how did you first then come across YouTube and then kind of decide to start focusing on it?
Well, you mean what did I do for a job before I did YouTube and stuff? I worked for the railroad. I worked for, trains.
Yeah.
For years. Matter of fact, even in the beginning of my YouTube career, I was still doing the railroad for quite a while. It was kind of a family thing. My dad worked for the railroad for 41 years. His uncle worked for 40 years or 35 years. So it's kind of like a family thing. And I just got into it when I was in my early 20s. And that's what I did for, like I said, close to 15, almost 16 years. And YouTube was just kind of, I don't know, man. I just kind of used it like anybody does to this day, just for information. I would go on there for entertainment, or if I needed to learn how to disassemble a gun, or, you know, whatever it was that I didn't know, I would go on there. And I found Casey Neistat, strangely enough, I think was about the time. And I was like, wow, that looks really fun. He just like, I kind of liked cameras. So I was like, well, that's fun. Let me get a camera and start tinkering around. And the more I played with cameras and tried to do some vlogs and tried to do some other stuff, and I just found it to be very interesting. I enjoyed the process of making videos and editing videos. And I taught myself how to use Final Cut Pro and all these things. And I just started doing it more and more, and it started to get some traction eventually. I mean, it wasn't a fast process, but I would say after maybe a year or two, probably 2 years of doing it, it started making a little bit of money. And I was like, well, this is interesting. And then, 6-8 months later, I kind of hit a growth spurt, and I was growing a little more, and I was starting to make near as much on YouTube as I was making doing my full-time job. And I was like, well, hold on. Like, wait a second. You mean I could just do this for a living and not have to, report to somebody and have a boss and do all those things? And that just slowly transitioned into, and I've told this story online multiple times, but I was very fortunate in the way it worked out. The company I was working for was doing layoffs. And if you had 15 years of service, they would, if you volunteered, so they didn't have to lay off people that didn't want to, they would give you a 1-year severance package. And at the time, my YouTube channel wasn't quite equaling my income, but it was getting close. So I was nervous about quitting. But with that option, I was like, wow, if they're going to pay me for a full year, certainly in a year, if I hustle, I can make this thing work. So that's when I went full time on YouTube, and I took the year severance package and said goodbye to working for the man and started working for myself.
Wow. So like divine intervention, really, like you're getting that, like it's a bit of a sign from the gods that you were like, I've got to give this a go, right?
Yeah, because, at the time I had kids and a wife and stuff, and I had a family, so I had responsibility, right? Like I couldn't just go off on some whim and let my kids starve to death. You know what I mean? So like yeah. I needed it to be fairly secure. So it had kind of held me back from quitting my job for quite a while. I wanted to, but it just wasn't there. So when that happened, I felt like that was kind of like, I'm like, man, this is my sign. I've got a full year. I mean, come on, like, yes. We got to get after this and make it work.
And did you ever think, like, so was there like any sort of like, I don't want to say the word strategy because that sounds a bit calculated, but was there any like, okay, I love these certain things. I love whiskeys. I love cigars. I want to just talk about that because that's what I love. Or was there, was there like, I think there's an audience in that. I want to talk more about that. Like, was there any kind of like, I guess, strategy behind it?
I would say there is yes and no. I would say like I probably if you're looking to follow somebody that has a good outline of how to like make YouTube work, I'm probably not the guy to follow because I did all the things that everybody said not to do. Right? Like back in the day, the advice everybody always gave with YouTube was niche down, right? Niche down, get a niche, stick with it. That's the best way to get views. That's the best way to get growth. Niche down. I am too ADD for that, man. Like I can't do, and that's kind of the impetus for my channel is like, I'm squirrel. You know what I mean? I'm all over the place. I can't stay on one topic for like a super long period of time or I get really bored. Yeah. And when I get bored, it's hard for me to do that thing. So I kind of jump all over the place. And it was kind of just one of those things where I was like, what's all the shit that I enjoy doing that are fun hobbies that I'm passionate about, that I have enough passion about the subject that I can try to make some fun content that I think people will enjoy. And also it's kind of any hobby you get into, there's a crowd for that, right? It doesn't matter what it is, by the way. The most crazy shit you think is out there, I guarantee you there's a group of people that love that shit. If you made a video on it, they would watch it. So, yeah, so I kind of just jumped all over the place, and anything that I started out kind of doing vlogs, and then as the channel started getting bigger, and like I said, because Casey Neistat was part of the guy who got me interested in YouTube, I started kind of doing that. And then the more the channel grew, I didn't know how much I really wanted my kids on the channel, just for safety reasons and a lot of creeps out there and stuff. And they're still on the channel occasionally, but they're not on near as much as they were when my channel was much smaller. I kind of just, I don't know, it just got a little weird. And then once they get older, it'll be fine again because they'll be adults. But I don't know. When you have young kids, you just have to be careful. A lot of creepy people out there. But then that's when I started doing like cigars and whiskey and all the other things that I'm kind of big into. And I still to this day, that's kind of the thing I follow. If it's a hobby that I enjoy and I think I could make some cool content, I do it. Some of them hit, some of them don't. Like I do barbecue content because I enjoy smoking. I have big smokers in my backyard and stuff. That content doesn't hit as good as some of my other content. But I don't care. I enjoy it. And some people really enjoy it. So even though it doesn't get the same views, I don't get the kind of the much popularity as some of the other content that I do. Like whiskey content's really popular.
Yeah.
Almost anytime I do a whiskey video, it does really well.
Yeah.
I still do the stuff that's not as popular just because there's still a crowd out there. There's still people that enjoy it, and I enjoy making it. So,
yeah.
So long-winded answer to your question is I'm not the best person. I'm kind of all over the place, and there wasn't any particular strategy.
But I guess ultimately, if you're doing the barbecue content in addition to the content that is more for the masses, then your longevity in the game's just longer, right? Because you'll be just enjoying it for a lot longer.
Well, and that's the thing. I think if that's one piece of advice that I would give to anybody is like, you got to do the stuff that you enjoy. Not that you want to do a whole bunch of stuff that you enjoy and everybody hates, because then obviously you're going to fail. But if you're only doing stuff for the views, I don't know, man. I don't think it has the longevity. Like you said, I think you're not going to be passionate about it and it's going to come across. And I think if you're in a creative space, which some people don't look at YouTube videos that way, but I definitely do look at it as a creative space. You have to kind of feed your creativity with things that you enjoy. If you're just constantly doing stuff for the masses, it doesn't always give you that spark that helps you think of new ideas and stay passionate about it.
Yeah. And I can't believe that you mentioned this before we started recording, that you are a one-man band. You edit everything, you plan everything with a channel the size of yours. Like, you would normally see people have like a small team or something like that. Is that because,
dude, I know.
Is that because you just need to have control over everything, or like you enjoy all of that because surely you don't enjoy every part of it.
No, certainly I don't. There are definitely parts of it that I would, it's like, God, man, it's kind of a combination of things. Honestly, it's part that I'm a cheap ass and I don't want to like hire anybody. Right. Because I've had businesses before that their overhead can ruin a business really quick. Right.
Yeah.
So there's part of me enjoying, like, I work out of my house still. My whole upstairs is my studio. I've got 2 rooms, a bathroom up here, and this is my studio. It's my workspace, it's my office, my editing, all that stuff's up here. And most of my friends that have channels my size, or even channels quite a bit smaller, like you said, they have a studio, they've rented a space, they have a small team of people, or some of them have pretty large teams of people, to be honest. And I think it helps them create content a lot quicker. I think that's one of the reasons why people get mad at me, because I don't put out content as often as a lot of other guys do. But partly a little bit of a cheap ass, partly because I do have a hard time relinquishing control. Like, the edit is kind of my baby, right? Like, I like to edit things the way that I like to edit them. I want to cut out the things that I don't like. I want to leave in the things that I think are funny or that are good. And I don't trust somebody else to do it the way that I would do it. So I'm not convinced that it wouldn't be just as much work because of the amount of rounds of edits we'd have to go through, because I would have to fix this, no, this, you need to do this. I feel like it'd be just as much work. I just might as well do it my damn self. So I have a lot of friends that are still to this day trying to talk me out of that mindset and telling me if I ever want to go to the next step that I really need to get a team and do that. But I just haven't been able to make myself do it yet.
Do you sometimes look like I said this to my business partner Ian, like I sometimes look around and I was like, fuck man, if we were born like 20 years earlier, like we would never have like been able to sell online, which means that somehow I'm in Bali,
It's
in
crazy, right?
Indonesia right now, and like you're making your money through, this thing on the internet that people watch TV through. Like, if you'd have told someone that 20 years
Wild.
ago, they'd be like, "Fuck off! What are you on about?" That's crazy. Do you look back and think,
Well, still older people.
Yeah, yeah.
If you talk to older people, sometimes they're like, "What do you do?" And like, people say 65 plus. Sometimes I'll tell them I do YouTube, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, but like, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, no, that's what I do for a living. They're like, "No, but how do you make money?" I'm like, "That's how I make money." And they're like, "How the fuck do you make money doing that?" So sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I mean, definitely that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, do you? Because I just think, yeah, just almost just like the luckiest time to be able to do this, because like YouTube wasn't even a thing. You actually kind of hit it at the exact right time, right? Like 6 years ago, kind of that was when it was like starting to blow up a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like even if I would have been a little bit earlier, I could have been good. Probably, I would say 8, maybe max of 10 years ago is when, and like you said, probably 6 to 8 years ago is when there was a lot of like, there was a huge uptick, I feel like. But yeah, man, anybody that's in our space, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a creator, if you're any of that kind of thing, now is the time to be alive, bro, because there's so many people that have started businesses that are very lucrative, very successful, and they're able to get a really cool product. And it's good for consumers too, because the diversity of cool shit out there is way more than it used to be. We're kind of spoiled, actually. You think about how many cool pocket knives and how many cool just little trinket EDC item, all kinds of crazy shit that 30, 40 years ago, there wasn't near the variety of it. I mean, we're spoiled with that amount of stuff today, but this is the era, man, of people, because you don't have to have a brick and mortar. You can have a cool idea and you can figure out how to make it, and you can sell it online and have a website, which costs, I mean, what does a Squarespace account cost?
Yeah.
A couple $100 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that the threshold for entry of having your own business is just way lower than it ever has been in history.
Yeah, man. Like, I actually think in the States, like, you guys, it's something that you guys are maybe trained to believe from, like, I guess it maybe depends on where you're from in the States, but from a young age, that you can create your own business and create your own destiny. Whereas in the UK, it's like, up until only a few years ago, it was like you go and work in an office for your whole life. And so it's kind of only been...
It's funny. I've heard a few people from the UK say that very thing. There's another guy, and I can't remember his name, but I watch his channel sometimes on YouTube, and he said the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
So they're kind of mean to you guys over there or something, huh?
Yeah.
It's a different mentality, I guess.
Yeah, just not the self-belief that I think you guys have, that you can make anything happen. And like, yeah, that's why I've got a soft spot for America myself. But I'll get.
That's awesome.
I'll get back on track. I'm conscious that there's loads of questions, and I'm just being selfish and asking my own questions.
I'm long-winded, man. I'm sorry.
No,
I will run on for. You ask me a question, and I'll blah. So just, if you need to tell me, hey man, shut the fuck up and keep this stuff short.
You're good. You're good. Actually, what I did want to ask you before, because I think we touched upon like an interesting point there. I know there'll be people who will be listening to this who will be so engaged with your channel, and you probably get asked this all the time, like, what would be your advice to someone who not necessarily wants to start a channel, but maybe wants to do that, wants to be a content creator, wants to go out on their own, but they're like, I don't think I can do it, or I've got an imposter syndrome, just like what you were saying earlier about getting in front of the camera and talking into it and feeling awkward. What would be your advice to them?
Just do it. I mean, just do it. I know that seems super simple and dumb, and it's like, oh, thanks, bro. That's fucking super insightful and helpful. But I mean, honestly, just do it, because the only thing that's going to make you more comfortable in front of a camera is being in front of a camera, right? And if you're not comfortable putting it out there in public, then don't publish it. But just make the video, edit the video, practice your craft or your skill or whatever, because the only thing that is going to make you better at it is reps. Right? Reps. It's just like anything. If you want to play the guitar, you want to play the drums, you want to draw, you want to fucking whatever. The only thing that's going to make you better. What's that saying? It's like 10,000 hours or something before you're a master at it, or there's something like that goes along.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. So, I mean, if it's something you're interested in, I guarantee you there's an audience out there for what you're interested in. Do something you're passionate about, because that makes it way easier than just trying to figure out what the algorithm and try to jump on the what's in the most trending topic. Stay away from that shit. That stuff's mind numbing and hard to keep up with. Find something you're passionate about, because it's going to be a lot easier for you to make content about it, and just put in the reps. Just start doing it. Do it. And like I said, if you're uncomfortable and they're really cringe, don't post them at first. Just do it, do the rep, and be like, yeah, that's just fucking atrocious. That is going to make people not want to follow me because I look like a serial killer. So don't post it. Then, next week, film another one and keep doing it until you get one that you think is good, and then start posting it.
Yeah.
Just do it, man. Get after it.
I was listening to this thing today. I think it was today or the other day, and they were like, if you're putting out shit content, it's fine because no one's going to be looking at that shit content because it's shit. So don't worry about it at the beginning, because no one will watch it. But the point when it gets good, then you'll get people to watch it. So they'll never. You just do what you did and take it down when you get to that point.
That's what I did, man. I think it was probably when I took some of those first videos down. I want to say I was like encroaching on 100,000 subscribers, and some of those videos were still out there. And I didn't even realize they were out there because I'd kind of forgotten. And then I was scrolling through my feed one day, kind of looking at numbers and seeing which videos had done well and which ones wasn't, just to see. And I was like, oh man, that's a really old one. And I watched it, I clicked it, and I was like, oh my God, private, unlisted. I've got to remove that immediately. That's so bad. I'm going to lose subscribers if people see this shit. This is horrible.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I don't know if you have Facebook, but if I ever looked at, because Facebook came about in 2007, I look at things that I posted on like a night out, drunken night out with friends. And I'm like, why did I put that on Facebook when I was like 22 years old?
Because you were drunk.
Yeah, very drunk.
And
it's still there now. It's still there now. Right, I'm gonna go into the questions, because otherwise we'll never get into them. And I want to go beard related question first, because actually I'm wondering this. As someone said, I've been trying to grow a long ass beard for years. Why can't I? And I'm going to build on that question a little bit, because I can grow facial hair to an extent. And then it gets to the point.
You look like you have a pretty good one.
No, it gets to the point where it just looks so ratty that I just like, no, I need to shave it off. Is it that you need to stick with it? Do you need to like go through the pain to get to the glory?
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because I mean, it looks like, and it's hard to tell on camera, but it looks like it's pretty thick. From what I could tell, you've got some density, right? Because you could tell, because you got a shadow there. You could tell guys that have real sparse beards, like when it's short, like yours. Yeah. You almost can't even tell, right? And I can see the pattern there. It looks like you have a relatively thick beard. Okay. I could be wrong. I'm not seeing you in person. In person, I could probably tell better. But a lot of growing a beard, and I hate saying this because it kind of sucks for some people, is it's just genetics. Yeah. Right? Some people just don't have real thick facial hair. Some people do. And all the weird potions and stuff, that shit's not going to do anything. It's how many hair follicles per square inch on your face you genetically have. It creates a thick or thin beard, right? But that being said, there is a certain thing with guys like you that seem to like you have a pretty thick one. A lot of guys, there's a phase that you go through with your beard that is... It's no bueno, man. Like you go through a homeless phase where it's hard. It's kind of like when you're growing your hair out. Have you ever grown your hair out on your head?
No, I've got to the point where I just have to just get rid of it because it's just too long.
It's the same with your growing hair on your head. You go through a phase where you just can't do anything with it. And you just have to wear a fucking hat for like a year because it's just a mess, right? A beard's the same way. You can either keep it short and tight and it looks neat, or you can let it grow and just get ready for, you're going to go through probably about 6-8 months of looking. And you can go on, Beard Brand is a company that I work with a lot. And those guys have some great videos on like keeping your beard neat while you're going through a growing phase, and what parts to trim and what parts not to trim and stuff. Because some parts, if you constantly trim it, it's never going to grow. Right. Yeah. But yeah, man, a big part of it is just saying fuck it and let it go, let it grow, give it a year and see what it looks like. Give it at least 6 months. At least 6 months. Usually a yeared, as they call them, a 1 year beard, a yeared, is when you can really start to kind of shape things and start to do different stuff with it.
That could be a YouTube channel in itself. We could have given someone an idea there. I like that.
Oh, Beard Brand. I mean, they're a beard company. They're not. their YouTube isn't their profession. They make beard care products, but yeah, they've got a whole channel. It's nothing but beard care stuff, man. And I mean, it's all, you could definitely easily, and I think there's 2 or 3 creators I know of on YouTube that's all they do is just beard stuff. And I mean, they're over 100,000 subscribers. You're not talking tiny channels, and that's all they do is beards, man.
Well, maybe I'll think about it if I can get beyond the homeless stage. But so I'm going to dot around in different areas. I've got some product specific questions. People like wanting to know like when certain things are going to come out. So someone said, when can we expect more of the man cards to be released?
We try to do 1 or 2 of those a year.
Okay.
We're working on the last one we did was the mini version, so it was kind of a thick. Do I have one up here? Yeah. It was kind of a thicker, like almost like domino size situation. The normal ones we do are the much bigger playing card or credit card size things. We try to do 1 or 2 a year. We're currently working on version 3. I'm sorry, my phone's going off. We're currently working on version 3 of the full size one. We're doing the designs and the mock-ups and stuff. So hoping to have that out maybe by mid-year.
Okay.
That's not that far away though, man. Shit, we're already in April. So yeah, this year is cruising, bro. Yeah. Cruising.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, maybe I'd say within hopefully the next 3 months.
Okay. I'm going to keep firing these at you. What is it? And this is getting a bit, a bit deep now. Like, what is your main motivation in life?
You know, man, somebody asked me that not too long ago, and it's weird because it's changed as I think it does for most people as you age. When I was younger, it was getting ladies. You know, there was a point in time in my life where my main motivation was not to be crass, but you know what I'm saying? That was my main motivation. Then I got a little older, and then it was like making something of myself, being able to provide for myself and you know, have things that I wanted, have my own car, have my own house, not be reliant on my parents, but relying on myself and being a functioning member of society. And then as I got older and had children, my main motivation for a long time is just being a provider, really, you know, being a dad, being a good dad, protecting and providing for my family in the way that I feel like a guy should. Right. Which is why we were talking earlier. There was some scary steps when I was going into the YouTube thing, because my main thing is always like, hey, making sure my kids are happy, healthy, and provided for. And if I go to make this jump, am I going to screw that up and, you know, kind of pooch my responsibility? So seeing my kids happy and healthy is a huge motivator for me.
That went from a like a funny answer to a very nice answer. So I think you covered.
Well, I feel like that's how a progression of a lot of humans are, right? When you're younger and you're in your teens, you know, guys, there's
bad
a lot of testosterone. It's all about like booze and women and trying to sleep with as many people as you can and just being an asshole in general. And then you start to get a little older and you mature, and that's why I tell a lot of people, don't be too hard on younger guys if they seem like assholes, because a lot of those guys mature into pretty decent human beings. We go through a bit of a spell.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey, Phil here, co-founder of Holme and Hadfield. Just interrupting the episode to let you know about something truly special to us. Community is a huge part of everything we do, and so we've created a Facebook group where we share our newest ideas and get feedback from you, our customers, to make sure we're developing products that you actually want to see. In return, we give away free products regularly. We're probably giving away a free product right now, and huge discounts of up to 35% on all product launches. Whilst this began as something fairly simple, it's grown into an amazing community of like-minded people. And so if this sounds like something you could be interested in, I've left the link to the group below in the description. So come join us. It's free, and you never know, you might enjoy yourself. Okay, back to what you came here for, the episode.
What happened to Whiskey Knife Fight?
Schedules. Scheduling. It's not gone. Me and Taylor still are buddies. We still talk all the time, and we still always plan on doing another one. And I said this answer on something the other day, but it's one of those things where it's not that we both don't have a couple hours a week to do it. It's that we both don't have a couple hours a week at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, hey man, we haven't done a whiskey night fight forever. Everybody wants one. I'm open Thursday night. You want to jump on and do one? He's like, yeah, dude, we totally need to do one, but I'm not open Thursday. How about Friday? I'm like, well, I'm busy Friday. He's like, well, shit. And then, you know, it's kind of like when we were trying to plan this, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's a nightmare finding when you got people that are busy and have a lot going on, finding the link up, the place when you both have time to do it. So it's not dead. Hopefully we'll do more episodes at some point, is whenever me and Taylor can manage to find 2 or 3 hours that we both have at the same time that we can do.
I should have given more context to that for those of the for anyone who's watching or listening who doesn't know, that was the podcast you were doing with Taylor Best Damn, aka Best Damn at EDC,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Cool. What
Great guy.
Yeah,
I'm sure he was highly requested on the series too. He's got to be. The EDC world, he's like a giant, bro.
he was highly requested. We've been in contact, but he hasn't got back to me recently. So yeah,
dude, he's hard to get a hold of. Like I said, me and him are buddies, and he stays busy.
Yeah.
You know, it's whenever you're people, I think would be surprised. People who don't do YouTube, I think they think, oh, what are you bitching about? You make videos. Like, I don't think people who don't do this understand how busy you stay to be successful and productive at this.
Of course. No, of course. I mean, yeah, I can imagine, but I can't imagine. I think unless you're in it. What requirements do you have for adding a new piece of gear to your regular rotation?
Well, I think my answer to that's slightly different than most, right? Because of what I do.
Yeah.
I think your average guy, it's got to be something really cool, and it's got to be something that kind of catches his interest, and it's got to be something that fills a need or a hole that he might have in his EDC, or maybe doesn't fill a hole, but maybe, well, yeah, I guess it would be a hole. Even if you have something currently in that spot that's doing it, maybe this could do it better, or it's an upgrade or whatever. So for most people, I think that's the same. And for me, that's to a certain degree, that's true. But for me, because of what I do, it's also like, hey, is that popular? Is that something people might want to see, right? Is that something that is new for a company that a lot of people are going to want to know what's going on with it? So then I buy it, I throw it in my rotation just for informational purposes, so I can figure out, like, do I like this? Is this something? And that's something I do on my channel that maybe I should not do the way that I do it, is usually I only do stuff that I like, right? So I'll buy stuff or get sent stuff. If I think it's a hunk of shit, I just don't do it. It's a waste of my time to spend 4 or 5 days between the filming and editing and stuff just to talk shit about on something. So generally, if it's not good, you just don't see it on the channel. And some people are like, man, you shouldn't do that. Like, we need to know if it's a turd. Like, you know, do the videos on the stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but that's like 5 days of work just to complain about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, to answer your question, my answer to that is probably a little different than most, but I a lot of it for me is it something people want to see? Is it something that's cool? Is it something new and inventive in the space that we haven't seen before? Is it something that's super high quality and stands out for some reason? Those are a lot of the things that I look for. But again, for normal people and for my personal EDC, I think a big part of it is there a hole in that particular spot?
Good answer. Would you ever consider developing your own whiskey?
You know, it's funny. We've got into that multiple times, and I've got some friends in the whiskey space, and they're developing their own whiskey. So I'm starting to get some inroads on how to do it. You'd be surprised how difficult of a process that is with the red tape because of alcohol, right? It's not like making a Zippo, which isn't like regulated in any way, right? Like when you start getting into alcohol, it's like, oh, fuck me. It's so much red tape and annoying shit that you have to go through in certain states. Won't ship. It's not as easy as what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, oh man, this is a great time. Like you can just have a website and you can just ship it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with booze, man. They're real weird about it. So yes, trying to keep the answers a little shorter because I know I'm long-winded. Yes, I have. It is something that I think is at least a good probability of occurring at some point if I can find the time to devote to it, because if I'm going to do it, I want to do it. I'm not going to half-ass it and just put my name on a bottle that, you know, I'm going to be involved in the whole process from soup to nuts. And Hopefully one day though, because I do love whiskey. And being a native Kentucky guy, I feel like it's part of my heritage that I should be involved in that in some.
Yeah. No, I feel like, but I feel like you'd have to. That would almost have to be the number one thing you were like focusing on at that time, right? Unless you had someone like properly running it for you. But that's a big. I was listening to something the other day. I was talking about setting up an alcohol brand in the US, and yeah, because there's so many huge companies that dominate that space. They make it so difficult for anyone to even get started and just stamp them out, right?
Yep. And nobody wants to share the trade secrets because they want to protect their stuff and all that. So there's a lot of like little red tape secrets of how to get around things, and certain states you can't ship from. So there's certain states that it's better to warehouse your stuff in because those states can ship to more states where other states can ship to less states. It's super complicated and dumb.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but yes, you're correct.
So next question, beard related question. What does your beard smell like?
I could give you the really crude answer, but I'm not going to. I won't even say it. I won't even say it. I want to say it so bad because it's a smart ass answer and it's crude. I was going to be like your mom's box. Oh. But no, that's
just to be clear. That didn't come from me.
That
didn't come. The question didn't come from me. But yeah,
I know. That's why I was saying there's a crude answer to that is really crude and unnecessary. But that is the first thing that popped in my mind. I was like, oh, don't say it, Jeremy. I couldn't. You heard me. It was like Tourette's. I had to say it. I couldn't not. Honestly, my beard oil. I did a beard oil collaboration with Beard Brand, and I love that shit. So it smells like Bold Fortune beard oil.
I mean, it looks,
because I put that in there every day.
It looks nice and silky smooth, I gotta say, even from
thanks.
all the way over there on the other side of the world. What are your feelings on fixed blades?
I really like fixed blades. I don't carry one very often, because I carry a gun and I carry a pocket knife and I carry a Zippo and all the other shit that I carry. And I feel like sometimes it gets to be a lot of stuff around the waist area. So folding knives are just a little more compact and easy. Yeah. But fixed blades for sure, if you're doing any heavy tasks, any hard work tasks, it's just a better option. You know what I mean? And there's a ton of cool fixed blades out there. I've actually thought about multiple times maybe starting to do a fixed blade, maybe like a scout carry in the back or something. I can't decide. I really would like to, and I love them. And I think they have a place that they're far better than a folding knife for certain things, but I just haven't gotten deep into that realm yet.
Yeah, so we're actually developing a new fixed blade organizer display case, so that's something that will be, hopefully we can release this year. So yeah, dude, we'll let you know.
Y'all's display cases.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll give you a heads up once we've finalized that. So this is definitely a question coming from someone else, and I don't know. I have to be honest. I don't know anything about cigars. I wish I did.
Okay.
But how do you learn the complexities of a cigar regarding tasting notes?
We talk about that a lot on the new live stream that I started in cigar videos that I do, because it's a strange thing for a lot of people that don't smoke a lot of cigars or just getting into cigars. When you hear guys on YouTube or you see on tasting notes of manufacturers and stuff, and they have all these crazy ass tasting notes. They're like, oh, there's bits of almond with undernotes of dark chocolate and caramel, and then somebody who's never smoked one picks it up and they're like,
yeah, that's me.
What the fuck is this guy talking about, bro? It just tastes like cigar. Like, it just tastes like tobacco. It takes a while to develop that, honestly. You've got to smoke quite a bit, and you've got to really sit down with it. And what I did in the beginning is I would sit down with like the manufacturer's tasting notes, and I would sit down with a cigar and I would smoke it, and I would try to see if I could pull them out. I'd be like, do I even get a hint of that? Because I think when a lot of people, they hear people talk about tasting notes, they think, oh, he said it tastes like caramel, so when I'm smoking it, it's going to be like a fucking Snickers. It's not that like in your face, right? I mean, it's tobacco. It's not caramel, but there's a nuance of that. And sometimes A/B comparison will help you pull that out. So like with whiskey, I tell people it's easier with whiskey than with a cigar. But I tell people, get 2 different whiskeys and taste them back to back. Because if you're just tasting one, you'd be like, man, what is that I'm tasting? But then if you taste another one, you're like, oh, wait, that one's way nuttier than this one, or this one's way sweeter than this one. And sometimes A/B testing can help you pull out notes. But with cigars, like I said, and with whiskey, either one, sit down, watch some reviews of people talking about it, see if you can pull out the flavor notes they're finding, and just practice it. It's just like anything else. It's kind of practicing and doing it, reps of it.
So I'm gonna ask you a question based on that. That's gonna make me look like an idiot in front of my own our own audience, but about cigars.
No, there's
but it is what it is. With cigars, this is what, because I was actually speaking to a guy recently who got into cigars over the last few years, and he'd almost he'd done it because he'd given up alcohol actually, and he was like I need a vice. He was like, I need a vice. And, and like, I knew I needed a vice. Like I had to have a vice, and I decided cigars was kind of like the least destructive. And actually, what it's ended up doing for him is it's created this like new community that he can hang around with, and he meets up with other guys. They smoke cigars, and it turns into this social. He's got this social life from it that he didn't ever expect. And so when he said that, I was like, wow, that's actually like, and he's moved, actually, he's a guy from Europe. He's moved to America, and he's got this new group of friends now, and he met them through cigars. And so I guess my question to you is it not necessarily, obviously the taste of it, the experience of it, but is it just as much the social aspect to it as well?
For a lot of people, yes. It's huge.
Yeah.
Herf is what they call like a group of people that gets together and smoke cigars. They call it a herf.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's a huge social thing for a lot of people. And, you know, much like we were just talking with the technology today, not only is it just getting locally with people and hanging out and smoking cigars, but it's even the online cigar community and just having other people to interact with that are passionate about the same thing you are and have the same hobby you do. And it gives you something to talk about. And then you find out you meet a bunch of people that you met them because you were talking about cigars online or in person at a local cigar club or a bar or whatever. And then you find out, hey, holy shit, this person has a lot of the other same hobbies I do. We have a lot in common. So then you end up developing relationships and friends and stuff through that hobby. So yeah, there's a huge social aspect to almost any hobby, right? It's the same with the EDC world. I think cigars though, and whiskey, it's a little more just because those are like social activities that a lot of people do, right? There's whole establishments that are built around just going and hanging out and drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, right? Or scotch or cognac or whatever your preferred brown spirit of the gods is. But yeah, man, it's a very social thing, and a lot of people really enjoy it. I enjoy both sides of it, the social side and the more nerding out and sitting by myself and just smoking the cigar and trying to pull apart what's going on in there. I enjoy that side of it, and I also enjoy the social side of it. So yes,
my girlfriend's going to find me in like 2 months' time sitting in a dark room just smoking cigars, just really trying to get, you know, taste these notes that I've been hearing about.
Sensory deprivation tank with a cigar, trying to tune out all other outside stimulation.
Are you planning, we've had a few questions about this, are you planning any collaborations with any other creators? I mean, I assume you talked about time. Is that that's probably a difficult part? But is anything like that coming up, or EDC brands that you might want to tell people about, or maybe keep under wraps? I don't know.
Not currently. I've got a bunch of stuff of my own. You know, I guess you could call it a collaboration because I work with Exclusive on a lot of my merch and stuff that I do. Not the T-shirts and stuff. I work with Bunker Branding on that stuff, but like the custom merch, the Zippos, the man cards. There's several projects we've got in the works in a collaboration with Exclusive. If you consider that a collaboration, even though Exclusive's kind of like, they don't try to be the center stage there. They're just like the back end of helping me develop the stuff. So they do have an Instagram page now and stuff. So they're growing. But anyway, there's lots of stuff that I'm developing with them. I don't currently have any projects going with like a Benchmade or anything like that. I'm in collaborations on a cigar with Brian from Privada Cigar Club and AJ Fernandez, who is a pretty big roller in the space. He's going to be rolling the cigar for us. So there's a cigar collaboration going. EDC space, like knives and stuff, I am developing my own fixed blade. Strangely enough, it's funny you were talking about that. We're in early stages of it though. Like I've kind of picked out, I think, the general shape I want, general size I want. I know the handle material and some of the stuff, but it's not like with a brand per se. I'm making it with exclusive. I don't have anything going on with Benchmade or anything like that at the moment. But who knows? New stuff, new opportunities pop up every day.
Sorry, exclusive, just out of interest, is that like do you have an idea and they make it for you? Is that how it works?
Yeah, man. It's funny. It's the guys from Big Idea Design.
Ah,
right?
sorry.
It's
Okay, they're hopefully coming on this show.
They're great guys.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Yeah,
so I met them years ago through loving their pins and stuff like that. And we kind of worked together. I did some videos on their stuff, did some reviews, and then he came to me one day and was like, "Hey, man, you know, we have a lot of manufacturing knowledge. We have a lot of packaging and warehousing and inventory and all of this thing. We have a lot of stuff on this side, but we're thinking about starting a company where we get with creators who are good at creating things, and they have a lot of cool ideas, and they have an audience that's interested in their ideas. And we're thinking about kind of having a meeting of the minds where we provide the part we're good at, you provide the part you're good at, right? So you come up with the ideas and bring the people and the ideas and the kind of creative side of it, and then we come up with the manufacturing and production side of it, and then we kind of let the people do the thing they're best at and make cool shit for people, right? And I was like, he's like, "Would you be interested?" I'm like, "Yes, please." Because that's the hardest part of making stuff, right? For a guy like me who is the creative side of it, like the manufacturing of it is daunting, man. Like finding the materials and the place to do it, and it's like, oh god, packaging and warehousing. And like we talked, I stay so busy, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect thing. So we started it. It's called Exclusive. It's the same guys that do Big Idea, but it's like another company of theirs that they run. And they work with a small set of creators on YouTube, myself, Best Damn EDC, the Bourbon Junkies, Becky and Chris, Anders Ericsson. Who else is on Exclusive right now? I want to say that's it for right now. And basically, yeah, we come up with if we think there's something that cool, like I've had some crazy fucking ideas, and they're always very cool about like, yeah, man, we could probably try to figure that out. Like any crazy shit that comes out of my head, they usually are pretty cool with. So yeah, currently we're doing the man cards and all that stuff with them, the Zippos. They help me with my whiskey glasses. These these ashtrays we did, these big thick ashtrays made of glass we did with them. Those guys are geniuses, man. They can make anything. I could come to them and say some ridiculous shit, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, we could do that." They'll think for a second. They're like, "Yeah." But good guys. Fixed blade knife it's funny. You said you were doing one. I think. What size are you guys doing?
Well, we're figuring all that out now. To be honest, it's a bit of a bit of a minefield. Are
you thinking you're going to go carry size, or are you just going to go like full on, like on the side camp, like outdoors, like not walking around? Or have you not even?
Yeah, we haven't. We've got to the point where we kind of like design the look of it, the size of it is something, because it's just so much. Yeah, so it's a lot more difficult to account for the sizes. Like folders are just a lot easier, and
huge,
and it's just going to be also. I mean, the size it's going to end up being is just going to be pretty huge compared to like the original knife deck, for example. Right. So yeah, but we'll figure it out. That's we take inspiration from people like that. Like we look at someone like Big Idea Design, and like the stuff they do is so innovative and kind of not stuff that's just not out there. You wouldn't see out there on the market. So yeah, take a lot of inspiration from those guys.
Well, that's what we try to do, is like we try to find products that's like, hey, there might be a product out there that people really like, but how could we make that our way? You know what I mean? Like, how could we take that and make it innovative and different and make it our way? And they're really good at that. They're very, very good at that. They do a good job.
Definitely. So someone said, how is Jeremy Siers so freaking awesome? That was a question. And then what was your favorite EDC item?
Oh, wow.
No,
How am I so awesome?
How are you? Yeah, you got to. How are you so
while
awesome?
while I greatly appreciate that, I don't think everybody probably feels that way. but the only answer I would have is I was just born this way, man. I would tell you. As far as my favorite EDC, man, that is tough. Oi, because it kind of varies a lot. It depends on my mood. I mean, do they mean like a particular item, like a particular knife, or do they mean like knife, flashlight, a type of item? They mean a specific item or a type of item? Because
let's
my
do
favorite
both.
type of item is probably I'm sorry?
Let's do both. Let's answer both.
My favorite type of item is probably a knife. Regardless what I'm doing, I don't give a shit if I'm in my pajamas. I have a fucking knife on me. There's just so many uses. People are like, and it's funny. Maybe you can answer this because you said you're from the UK. I've had a lot of people from other countries. They find it very weird that people carry knives all the time. They're like, why do you feel like you need a knife for protection? I'm like, first off, I don't carry a knife for protection. I carry a fucking gun for protection. Let's be real here. I carry a knife to like open boxes and cut threads on my clothes. And I mean, just, it's a tool. I don't look at this as a weapon at all. Like I would never pull this. Well, I mean, I guess if the shit hit the fan, it's all I had. I guess I would use it as a weapon, but I don't look at it. Do you look at a knife as a weapon, or do you look at it as a tool?
I think it's like, so I definitely don't now after creating this business and this brand, like our customers and we know that's not the case. I think it's just like, if we're from the UK, there's a hell of a lot of knife crime. So people just associate knives with bad things. And there's not,
and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you there, but I think that's funny, not to get on a political note, but it's amusing that whatever the weapon of choice for a country is, that's where there's a lot of crime. Like in the US, everybody says gun crime, because we have guns.
Yeah.
Well, the UK doesn't have guns, so guess what? Knife crime.
Yeah.
The point is, people like to do crime, man. People like to commit crime. So that's funny that UK has a lot of knife crime. But anyway, I mean, not funny. Like, I'm sorry that you guys have knife crime. But it's funny that it's knives that people have a problem with over there.
But it's just a cultural thing. Like, and we totally get it now. Like our customers that buy our products, we know that they're not knife wielding maniacs. They just like to open their Amazon boxes with a cool pocket knife. Like, what's wrong with that?
So in the UK, sorry to switch this over to you, but so in the UK, people look at knives the way some people look at guns in the US. Like don't get me wrong, US, we're a very gun-toting society, right? So there's a huge majority of people that love guns and support the Second Amendment and all that stuff. But there's also the people on the far left that think there should be more gun control and guns are for criminals, and they look downly on them. So is there a big section of the UK that's how they feel about knives? It's like for criminals and people that's kind of a cultural thing?
No, not necessarily. I think it would just be, it's not normal that men would just have like a huge knife collection. It's not like
really.
I don't in the UK, although we have UK customers, so it definitely is a thing as well. But it's not as widespread. So when a guy I know in the US, when we started this brand and then we started to make more of the knife related products, he was like, and I didn't know this about him. He was like, hell yeah. Like I've been collecting knives since I was like, 12. And I was like, I didn't know that about him, but it's just so normal in America. Whereas,
wow.
Yeah, it's just in the UK, it's just not as normal. But I wouldn't say, it's not like we're freaking out about knives. I just, maybe people associate that.
No. It's just interesting that it's a different, like, because there's also a lot of laws over there, right, that are very different than the laws. Like, could you carry like this knife in the UK? Like, is that allowed over there?
Yeah, I think you could carry it, but then I guess I don't know. I mean, if the police stopped you and you had it on you, I don't know what they would do. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, because I had a guy one time in a video, I was talking about that, and I was like, because I had some comments where again, people were like, why do you carry a knife? And blah, 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 blah. It's like, do you feel that in danger that you need to carry a knife? And I was like, hold the fucking door here. I don't carry a knife for protection. Okay. I've got a very different tool for that particular situation. We won't go too deep into it, but yeah, that's a different story. And then I was like, what are we doing here? Like, we're just making everything that's dangerous illegal. Like, are we going to make, a hammer illegal next? And then somebody commented, they're like, actually, in my country, if you have a hammer and you don't have a purpose for it, you can get arrested. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
what are we doing? Like, people get like, they consider like a screwdriver. If you're carrying a screwdriver in your pocket, that's considered like a shiv in some countries. If you don't have if you're not like now don't get me wrong, if you have a screwdriver in your pocket and you're an electrician or a carpenter, I'm sure that's a different situation. But just a normal dude, if he gets pulled over and he has a screwdriver in his pocket, that's considered a weapon. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I think if they focused on the people who would actually commit the crimes rather than people who are just, yeah.
You think, right? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there and take your podcast in a weird direction.
No, all good. I thought you might ask me some questions about my childhood or something like that. So what I want to do now...
You guys really like tea that much? What? No,
I fucking hate tea. I've never got it.
You hate tea?
Oh God, I can't stand it. It's awful. I've never got it. I've tried to...
You're a coffee guy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, coffee for sure. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm addicted. It's a great drug. I have to kind of...
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You were the first person from over there that I've met that says they like... Now, don't get me wrong. I have lots of friends and I've met a lot of people that live over across the pond because of YouTube and they watch my channel and stuff and you develop relationships. But a lot of them like coffee, but they all prefer tea because I think over there it's just a cultural thing. You're kind of raised with it, right?
So my mum doesn't drink water at all. She just drinks tea and wine. Like there's never drinks a glass of water. Like I can't.
Fucking legend, legend. Just tea and wine. Well, she's a legend,
she just gets the water from the tea. That's what she says. Like, and I don't know how she's.
My dad said the same thing about coffee. My dad used to say the exact. It would be 90 degrees. He'd be sweating. And he'd drink coffee. Like, Dad, you're gonna dehydrate. It's Florida. Drink some water. He's like, what do you think this fucking coffee's made of? Water.
Yeah.
Pour water over beans.
Yeah,
it's coffee.
Exactly. And she's gonna be 80 soon, so she's doing well. The wine and tea diet.
Cheers to her,
go
bro.
for it.
Cheers to her.
Exactly. So I've just got a few quick fire questions for you that will.
Sorry, I'll try to keep them. I'll do my best to keep them short.
I had these as quick fire that we'd use towards the end of the podcast. So
okay.
So get ready. So favorite whiskey and cigar pairings.
Oh fuck, man! You can't. That's not a quick
Your
fire.
favorite
That's
one.
like
Your favorite. If you had to choose one pairing.
Fuck, man! I drink so many, and I like them for different reasons, different proofs, different moods. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you the same answers. It's kind of a bullshit answer, but I'll give it to you because it's the quickest one I have. Because there's literally 10, 15 whiskeys that are my favorites. But somebody asked me the other day, if there was a house fire and you had to save one bottle of whiskey, which would it be? And it's not based on flavor. It's based on sentimental attachment. There's a bottle of George T. Stagg, which is a pretty popular bottle, rare bottle that I have that my dad gave to me years and years ago. And he's passed away now. And for sentimental reasons, because he gave me that bottle. If there's one bottle I would save or is my favorite bottle on my shelf, it's that bottle. But it's not because of flavor. If you're asking me just like what's my favorite one to drink, that's a loaded question, man. And I could rattle off a list of probably 10.
Okay. Well, it was a good answer. It was a nice answer. What's your favorite watch currently?
That's another tough one. If it's strictly my favorite that I currently own, it's my Rolex Submariner. Like, I love that watch. It just feels good on the arm. It's got the toolless micro adjust. So living in Florida, when it gets hot, it's really super easy to just tweak it a little bit when your wrist swells up because it's 90,000 degrees outside. It sits real low. I mean, it wears fantastic. And it's a beautiful watch, right? It's just a beautiful watch. So if I had to say, my favorite is probably that, but the one that I wear the most is probably my Tudor.
Okay.
My Black Bay. Only because the Rolex is a little more expensive and I don't have any safe queens per se, but it doesn't leave as a matter of fact, it sits very proudly in one of you guys' watch cases on my dresser.
Nice plug. Nice.
Yeah. My 4 top favorite watches sit in, I have the 4, watch version that you guys have, and my 4 favorite watches sit on my dresser in that. But my Black Bay is probably my most worn watch because I tend to not wear the Rolex in all occasions because of being a little protective of it because of the price and difficulty to get the damn. It took me like almost a year and a half to get the damn thing.
Cool. What would be your last meal on Earth before you die?
Steak.
Steak?
Bar none, steak.
Nice. Okay.
I know that's such a generic dude answer, but dude, I love, you give me a good medium rare steak, reverse seared with a bloated baked potato. Forget about it, dude. I'm done.
Good answer.
I'm checking out.
Favorite knife currently?
Probably I'm going to go two. I'm cheating, but probably my favorite is, I love it, man, is the ProTech TR3 operator.
Okay.
I love that knife. I don't know what it is about it. It's something about the scale design, the all black nature of it. The fact that they basically debadged it. It doesn't even say ProTech anywhere on the knife. It's just stealth black with the tritium button. It's an auto, so it opens. It's a great knife, and I have a hard time not putting that thing in my pocket a ton. But the knife I've been carrying the most lately, and I really love it, are these Civivi Chevalier, I think is the name of it.
Okay. Because
it's a button lock, so it's much like the ProTech Malibu in the operation of it, and it's got micarta scales, which I'm a big fan of micarta, but it's like under $100, right? Where your Malibus and your ProTechs and, a lot of your, you're talking several hundred.
Yeah.
You can get these on Amazon for like $89. So for a hard use everyday knife that you're not afraid to like snap the tip off and you're not like butt hurt because you just broke a really expensive knife, like, man, I've been carrying this a ton lately.
Nice. If you could have a cigar with someone dead or alive, who would it be? And what would the cigar?
I've thought about the
cigar be?
That's a harder answer because I've got a lot of favorites. It would probably be like a Padron. For a fancier cigar that I really enjoy every time, it's like a Padron 1926. So if I had to give you an answer, I'd probably say that. However, again, I have a lot of favorites. There's budget cigars I like a lot. AJ Fernandez New World. We just did the New World Dorados, a newer one he just came out with. Fantastic cigar. I love it. But the cigar I recommend to people that I think is a little bit special of a cigar is the Padron 1926. So it'd probably be that cigar. I've thought about the answer about who, and it's tough because there's several people that I think would be really awesome to have a cigar with. One would be Mark Twain. I think it would be super cool to have a cigar with Mark Twain. He, from what I understand, was a pretty avid cigar smoker. Super interesting guy, right? Like American novelist. Like to be able to talk to somebody that lived back then and kind of get their perspective, and the fact that he's a kind of a literary genius, I think it would just be cool to pick that guy's brain and see what was going on. More modern, I've always thought it'd be cool to smoke with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a huge cigar guy, and cool. I mean, and he's like, from my childhood, he was like the epic action hero in all the 80s movies when I was growing up. Yeah. So I think he's kind of a fucking legend, and I just think it would be cool, especially being that he does also love cigars.
Yeah.
And also, is it? I always get him mixed up. Is it Teddy Roosevelt or Theodore Roosevelt? I should know that better. I'm bringing out my ignorance and being an American now. Now I'm gonna have to look it up, bro. I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't remember this.
One of the Roosevelts. I know.
Yeah, it's Theodore Roosevelt.
Okay,
Theodore Roosevelt. Cool. Okay. I always get those two mixed up. It's like I have a stroke. That guy was a fucking legend, bro. I don't know if you know anything about Theodore Roosevelt, but he got shot, assassination attempt, fucking shot in the chest, and still gave a speech. He finished his speech. He was like, and kept on delivering his speech with a bullet in him, and then went after and got it taken out.
Oh my god,
legend! Come on, dude, get out of here.
Well, maybe him and Arnie. Well, you can.
There would be so much testosterone in the room, I couldn't even stand it. I'd be like, I can't even be in here. You guys are just too manly for me. My manhood is shriveling in front of the greatness.
So, final question: what is in your pockets right now?
Well, I'm at home, so it's not as crazy as it normally is.
What about if let's say you just got you?
No, there's some stuff though. I do carry a flashlight. Okay. Little Prometheus, old brass Prometheus flashlight. Yeah. I have the knife that I've pulled out a couple times.
Yeah.
The Chevalier.
Actually, you got a few.
I've got my wallet from. Always carry this. This is the bad motherfucker edition that I did with OpenSea. You remember Pulp Fiction? He said, "Which one's your wallet? The one that says bad motherfucker on it." So I thought that was hilarious. And with Michael, we made a little limited run of these to say same font and everything from the movie. Pulp Fiction says bad motherfucker.
Nice.
I always have one of these. Mighty Hank.
Okay.
Love the Mighty Hank. That is always in my back pocket, regardless, because when I wear glasses. And that's it. That's it right now because I'm at home. That's all that's in my pocket. And I got my watch on.
That's still a lot more than I would
But
have
I
expected.
always have a pin nearby. So
nice.
That is a big idea design there. Fountain EDC. I love fountain pens.
Nice. Dude, I'm sorry. We're out of time, but this has been
I get it,
awesome.
man. I'm sorry. I was long-winded. You probably had more questions we didn't get to because I can't fucking talk quickly.
I got through a lot of it, and I learned a lot, mainly how I'm going to grow a beard, how I'm going to smoke cigars. I'm going to get some nice beard oil. So I think, my girlfriend's going to be pretty happy in 6 months. I'm going to be a completely changed man.
You got to keep in touch, man, and send me pictures. I want to see the progression of the beard as it grows.
Homeless chic. Cool, man.
Homeless chic. That's my whole look, bros. Homeless chic. That's my vibe.
Look, man, thank you so much for this. I know everyone will find your answers and everything hilarious. I did too. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Brother, I appreciate you having me. Really do. Appreciate you inviting me. It was a lot of fun. It was good to meet you. I'm glad we worked it out and we finally got some time to sit down and have a little combo.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's cool. Mate, thank you so much for that. That was awesome.
No worries.